Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a very long time and I have no excuse. A lot has happened in the last few years since I filmed. I think we were like in the first few months of the pandemic when I started filming. My life was completely different. We were like trapped in our homes, yada yada yada. Don't get into like the boring details, but like, you know, a lot has happened. And so ever since then, I think it was 2020, so it's August 2022. Ever since then, I decided to move to England. I moved to England. I've been teaching here for a year and a half now. I'm going into my third year of teaching in literally next week. It's gonna be my in January, it's gonna be my, it's gonna be 2 full years since I've been in the country. Right. Anyways, let's get to the point of this specific video. I have been accumulating a list of all the things that shocked me when I first moved here. So we're gonna just go straight to it because a lot of you might not actually care about all the stuff that I just said anyways. So let's just go straight into culture shocks. So we're gonna just start with like the first obvious ones. Okay, so I already knew this going in, but I also didn't realize like to an extent. Okay, so actually, you know what? No, I could do a whole part on the education system here because I do this speech all the time. Teachers are always asking me like, oh, like what's the difference of teaching here to Canada? And I could literally talk about it forever. So I think I'm gonna do that in a separate video. So we're gonna ignore education system, but let me just quickly add in, everyone wears uniforms here, whether it's a public school, a Catholic school, a Jewish school, like everybody wears uniforms, private, everything, right? So it's very normal to wear uniforms here. And it's like a blazer, a dress shirt, a tie, girls included, pants, skirts, like loafers. Like it's a very specific uniform. So that's like the one thing I can add, but I'll go into the whole education system later on. Okay, so some of them I'm like, it's so silly. The one thing that shocked me when I first moved here was the amount of yogurt in a grocery store. You'll find that a lot of these are grocery store based or food based because when I first moved here, it was a lockdown, so I didn't really do much. I just went to grocery stores, so I had a lot of time to analyze these grocery stores. All right, so yeah, yogurt, like there's a whole aisle on just yogurt. Like that was like something that shocked me because like now I can't really remember why because I'm so used to it now, but like, yeah, in the beginning I was really surprised, like Greek yogurt, like lactose free yogurt, like flavored yogurt, and it would be like in tubs. Like you could literally find a tub this big and people are constantly buying it. So like, yeah, yogurt was really cheap and like so easy to buy. So yes, obviously we experienced daylight savings in Toronto. Well, that's not Toronto, but it gets dark very early here. But then it kind of works out because in the summer it gets really, it doesn't get dark until very late. So anyways, it'll be like 3:30. I'll be leaving work, so I'm a teacher, right? So I'll be leaving work 3:34 and it will be starting to get really dark. And then if I'm having a staff meeting, if it's like 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'm leaving work, it will literally be like pitch black. Like it's so trippy. Like you'll be walking out and it's 5 o'clock and it feels like it's 10 p.m. It's really weird. It makes like walking around after work kind of like scary because, you know, as a woman walking by herself home, it's kind of scary sometimes, even though it's like 6 p.m. and you're just like, let me get home. But like I said, in the summers, it can get dark really late. So I'll probably be like 10 p.m. and you can still see light outside. So that's a nice thing. It's only for like the first few months of summer, and then by like August, it's kind of going back to normal again. Oh yeah, so here driving, you have to drive, like, okay, so they have a really good transportation system. A lot of people drive still, right? A lot of people still drive, a lot of people still have cars. So explain to me why parking, I mean, again, this is London, this is like, you know, like if you're not really in like the suburby area, but there's not really suburb areas in London anyways. There is like no parking, free parking. You have to pay parking all the time. Like it's actually like advertised like free parking if you go to a mall. Like I think that's so weird. Like we've gone to Westfield and White City, which is like a really big mall, and you have to pay like £8 just to like park there. Like by the time you're out after a few hours, yeah, because you're not gonna just go to the mall for like an hour, you're gonna go for, you know, a few hours there. You're paying like £6, £7, £8 just to park there, which I think is ridiculous. So there's no drive-throughs. Like you would think that in a city where parking is difficult, parking is limited because there's not enough space, everyone drives, everyone's trying to park, you would think that the restaurants would have, or like fast food places or coffee shops would have drive-throughs to make the process easier. But no, there's very limited drive-throughs. Like you'll see some, like there is a McDonald's with a drive-through and a KFC with a drive-through near me, but it's always like packed because it's one of the only ones. When we want to go get Starbucks, just a quick coffee run, you have to pay like £2 to park, then you have to walk to the coffee shop, you're paying for your Starbucks, then you walk back. Like it's like a 10-minute, not even 10-minute, 5-minute ordeal, and you end up paying like £2, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you come from a place where you've never had to pay for parking, like it's very frustrating. Don't even get me started on parking in Central, like then you're also spending like so much money too as well. Anyways, one thing that really surprised me, I did not understand what these shops were. I'm gonna try to see if I can add a picture here. Very easy to bet and gamble here. So they don't have casinos, you know, they have these little shops, and it's like the size of like a regular, like, you know, really tiny like shop, and you'll just like walk down the street and you'll just see one, and I can't remember their names. I have like Patty something, I don't know, but I realized they're just like a shop that you go in and you just bet, like you put bets on things, like at sport games or like horse racing. I don't even know what it is because I literally could care less about betting or gambling or anything. But yeah, like it's really bad, and like it's so funny because you have signs about how like the dangers of addiction, and you know, gotta make sure that you have like self-control, blah, blah, but like you're just encouraging betting, and you're just encouraging that if you have them like so accessible. Like it's not like one or two I've seen, like they're everywhere, like it's so easy to go. So that was something that really surprised me. Another one, I already knew this because I did some research before I moved here, but most people might not know this. Washing machines. So washing machines, dryers, and that's if you're lucky and you go and rent a place that has a washing machine and a dryer. The first place I lived here at this flat apartment had a washing / dryer. So like you can wash it and then you just change the setting and then you're drying it. But I never did a really good job of drying it because obviously it still has like moisture, you know what I mean, in it. So yeah, so if you're lucky, you have a washing machine and a dryer. They're in the kitchen. I'm so used to it now that it doesn't even faze me, but in the beginning, like even though I knew this information, I thought it was so weird. Like imagine like you're cooking and someone's like, oh, I gotta do laundry. Like, I mean, this is again if you're living in a place with like housemates or flatmates. Ooh, that's another one. I should get into that in a second. So like, yeah, like you could be cooking and then someone be like, oh, sorry, let me just, and then you have to like move out of the way as they're adding clothes into the washing machine, putting the laundry detergent and everything, and you're just like, okay, and like the washing machine's just running while you're cooking. Like it was weird to me. Like I still like don't get it. Like I still feel like it was weird, but like I'm kind of used to it. Like, but that one's weird. The one thing I wanted to add was, so you don't say roommates here. I learned that the funny. All right, so you say flatmates if you live in a flat apartment, and you say housemates if you live in a house. So I learned that, you know, you have to be very specific about that because I didn't think it was a big deal if I said roommate, because obviously like it means like the people that you live with, because again, that's what I grew up saying or learning how to say that. So I was getting my nails done and this like woman would come to the house or like the flat, and she can just do it in your own place, right? So she was doing it in my room and she was like asking me like, oh, like I think we were talking about like, oh, my boyfriend or something like that. And I was like, oh, no, he doesn't live here, I just have like 2 girl roommates. And she looked at me and she was like, oh, and she like looked at my room and she was like, really? Oh, okay. And I was like, huh? Like I didn't really get why she was like shocked and why she was looking around my room, and then it clicked that she thought I meant like literally roommates, like we literally 3 girls in one room. And I had to quickly explain, no, I meant like flatmates. Didn't think that I had to explain that, but there you go. So I've heard that this one that I'm about to mention, it was more related to COVID, but I still see people doing it now. It's a good idea to an extent. So basically, like menus, it's kind of rare to go into a restaurant with menus, unless it's like a fancy restaurant, and then they still have like the paper menu. But like I said, because of COVID, this is kind of became a thing. So you scan a QR code instead, and I think in Canada they're starting to do that. But like here, it was get to a point where like everywhere you went, you had to like look at the menu and the QR code. But not only that, you order off your phone, so you have to like make an account. Sometimes you have to download an app, go through the menu, pick what you want, then you order it, then you pay for it, and then later the waitress just comes and brings it to you. So like waitress or waiter. So like sometimes it would just be like you wouldn't even interact with the waiter and the waitress. So like you just like pay off the phone, and then that was it. And then like your food would come in, and that was it. So it was just like very strange to me in the beginning. I just didn't like that because it's just very dependent on the phone. And like I was always just thinking about my mom. For example, my mom is not tech savvy. She doesn't have data on her phone. So like if she like had to deal with that, I'm sure she'd be really frustrated. So like I feel bad for people who maybe don't have like, you know, they're not good with their phones, or like, you know, if your battery's dead, then you're stuck, right? So I think I'm gonna mention like probably like 3 more because this video is becoming really long and I want to get it to like short. So those are a few. Again, this probably will be like a 2 or 3 parter. Right, so TV license. Again, heard about this because I watched Doctor Who. So I think I like remember doing research like ages ago when I watched Doctor Who. There was like a TV episode, something like that. Anyways, so I heard about this. And I haven't had to deal with it because I've lived with like 2 different landlords who've just like, the first one, I think they kind of got us to start paying it right when I moved, so I didn't have to deal with it. Here in this house, the landlord's already paying for it, I think. So I didn't have to deal with it. But basically, if you have a TV and you watch live broadcasts, and that means even on streaming, if it's a live broadcast, because I think Netflix, like that's kind of like a loophole. But like, let's say I'm watching, let's say Love Island, right? Love Island's coming out in summers. Let's say I'm watching Love Island through BBC or like, sorry, ITV. Even though it's a website, even though I'm watching it on my laptop, it's still like a live streaming. You have to pay a license for that. And you'll get scary mail, like you'll get scary like letters, and they'll be like, we need to investigate, please like pay for a TV license. And if you don't pay it, like they will send people to your house to investigate it. So like apparently like people will literally have like people come to your house, they will check, and if they find out proof that you are using a TV or you're using live broadcasting, you will get fined. So that's a stupid thing. I don't understand. Anyway, so that one's a really crazy one. Because I've gone to a lot of parks, this is what I noticed. Dogs walk around here without leashes. Like it's really, really common. Like only if like the dog seems dangerous and they have like a muzzle, and you're like maybe that dog is just out of control, like that's when you'll see somebody walk around with a leash. But like the parks, the dogs are just always calmly walking by the owner, like not running around, not being crazy, no dog fights, they're just walking calmly. So back in like Toronto, I'm pretty sure that's illegal. So like that was strange to me, that I was like, my dog would have run away. I would not see my dog again if I just like walked around without a leash. Like it's so strange, and they're always so calm. So you can tell like the dogs are really trained to do that. Still thought that was weird though. I had an actual discussion with some co-workers, and one of them said that she's never heard that before, and she's like, I don't think that's true. And she grew up in London, but I'm pretty sure like this is something that I've experienced because I've never had to deal with that back home. Okay, so anyways, like notice here, people call their boyfriends and girlfriends partners. So back home, if someone says, oh, like, you know, my partner, I just assume they are, you know, gay, lesbian, or whatever, right? Like LGBT. Again, cool with that. But it just makes sense, right? Like you don't want to like, you just say like my partner, like my lifelong partner, whatever, if you're not married and stuff. I guess that was more like when that was a little bit more common before, but it's just people say boyfriend and girlfriend. Like I've never heard anyone say like, oh, this is my partner, unless they're gay. And even then they would still say like, this is my boyfriend, like you wouldn't, or this is my girlfriend, like, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't a big deal. Here, people say partner. So when I first moved here, and I remember my coworkers would talk about like, you know, their home life or whatever, and they would say boyfriend, they would say partner. And I was just like, oh, there's a lot of gay teachers in this school. Because I was so confused. So then I realized, I think one time they mentioned the name, and I was like, oh, they're straight. Interesting. So then I realized that I think older people, not older, like people in their late 20s start calling their boyfriend and girlfriend's partner, because I think saying boyfriend at like 27, 28, 29, 30 sounds lame. Apparently, that's what I mean. This is just my assumption. I have not double checked this. I have not fact checked this, but this is my experience, okay? People say partner. I got used to saying it now because I don't know, people just say my partner all the time. That I even started saying partner instead of boyfriend, but I'm okay with saying boyfriend. I don't know. Like I said, my coworker said this is not true, but that's my experience. Again, and this one's my last one, which I think is the funniest one. Okay, so I had to learn again all these are through experiences, okay? I had to learn the hard way. So you're gonna get a lot of people saying, you're right, you're right, you're right, you all right, right? I'm not saying with accent, you're right. It's like, oh. And you'll like walk past the person, you're right, you're right. Like that. Oh, I'm glad so good with accents. Okay, anyways, that doesn't mean you need to respond. Okay, when people say that to you, they do not care about the answer. So I would be like walking down the hall and a coworker would just be like, you're right, and I'd just be like, yeah, I'm good, how are you? Oh, and they would just be like already halfway down the hallway, and I would just be like, so I would like get so panicked when people would say this to me, because I would be like trying to like respond really quickly and trying to say like, how are you as well back, right? Like people would literally be like walking down the stairs and I'd be walking up the stairs. I'd be like, yeah, and I'd be stressed. And then I've just through experience learned that people don't actually care. They're just saying it to be polite. It's just like saying like, hey, it's like saying hi, it's like saying what's up. It's basically like the equivalent to sup, like sup. Like you don't need to respond. Like they don't care. Like I'm not saying that they don't care, like, but it's just like the response is not needed. It's just a polite way of saying hello, but it's just like slang. Like you're right, you're right, yeah, you're right, yeah, right. Like that's it. So that one was a really funny one. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah, I just wanted to show you like very quickly and very rushed, the culture shocks that I had to experience when I moved here in London. Still going through it. I think I just like added like 2 new ones like a couple weeks ago. So you know what, this list is always growing. So I wouldn't be surprised if I'm gonna just quickly come on and do some videos. But yeah, so anyways, I hope everyone has a great day. And I'll see you all later.